What's going on, y'all? It is Cop Pizzle, and today the New York Giants unveiled a century red jersey. And imagine that. The majority of the New York Giants fan base hates it. But then again, the majority of the New York Giants fan base seems to hate being Giant fans in general. I mean, it blows my mind half the time thinking about if these people even understand who they're rooting for or what they're rooting for. It's like, you hate being a Giants fan. Why are you a Giants fan? I don't know if you need to hear this or not, but the Giants are going on their 100th season upcoming. They're one of the founding fathers, if you will, of the National Football League. They're in there with the Green Bay Packers as being a historical franchise that has been around literally for 100 seasons. Like, do you not understand that the New York Giants is tradition? There is a long storied history here that dates back long ago. And I appreciate the fact, this is one of the reasons why I love the Giants, is they've always cared about their history. I appreciate them turning back the page and honoring the men who wore these helmets, these jerseys, the pants, the whole 9 yards, who wore these uniforms, who wore pieces of this uniform that ultimately led to the team that we root for today. I hate to let you guys in on this, but the National Football League hasn't always been the most popular thing in America. It hasn't always been the number one go-to thing. There were men who put their blood, sweat, and tears and helped build the National Football League and helped build the New York fucking Football Giants. And I'm sorry, but I think that they deserve some recognition. And if you're going to go on your 100th season, how about we honor some of these men who helped win the Giants' first ever championships? I mean, I don't understand what the problem is. The Giants are going to wear these uniforms for 2 games, and some of you guys are throwing the biggest fucking fits because why? You live in a privileged world. I got news for you. In the 1920s and the 1930s, they didn't have the things that we have now to create the things that we have. I mean, it honestly boggles my mind that some of you don't realize that maybe the quality of things that they had wasn't quite as good. We are privileged to live in this time period. But those men who wore those uniforms, who created these uniforms, who created these products, they deserve to be represented. I'm sorry. I don't care if you can sit here and say, oh, well, you should leave that in the 20s and you should leave that in the 30s. Fuck you. I mean, seriously, fuck you. I mean, we should honor what is the saying? I'm an old school Giants fan. That's what you get when you follow this channel. What is the saying? Once a Giant, always a Giant. And I'm sorry, but if you're around wearing these uniforms or wore this helmet or this jersey or these pants, you're a Giant. And you deserve to be represented 100 years later. I'm sorry. And anybody that disagrees with the Giants wearing these uniforms, or they think, oh, it looks ugly on my TV, or it's going to look ugly out there. Fuck you. Seriously. The men that helped build this organization, helped play the very first games, they're just as important as the men today. 1925. Matter of fact, don't go nowhere. I got a hat right here. Look. I got a hat that literally states right 1925, people. 1925. I mean, do we not understand that this team has history? It has history, and we should look back on it. Regardless if it looks good or bad or whatever, it's part of our history. It's part of what made the New York Football Giants ultimately who they are today. So I love the fact that the Giants aren't afraid, aren't worried about what public opinion will be. They're going to honor those that came before us who rooted for the Giants. You know, I've always thought about, think about guys, maybe that were your age in the 1930s. 20s, 30s, 40s who were huge Giant fans, but there was no platform like YouTube to share their love with the Giants out there. They didn't have those things. They loved this team. They loved these uniforms. They loved these helmets. They loved these whatever. Like there was a time period that it was loved by somebody, and they deserve to be showcased today. I'm sorry. Deal with it. I mean, you should accept it. With that being said, I will say that if there's one piece to this uniform that I don't necessarily love, it is the helmets. And the reason why is because obviously during that time period, they were wearing leather helmets. And so you really couldn't put a logo on those things during that time period. So it's not, to me, you didn't really have the ability to design it or put your stamp on it. You just had this way of putting colors, and then the way the leather was basically stitched together and all this. Like I don't identify this helmet as being the Giants, but it is part of what they wore. So I mean, I appreciate them showcasing it to our younger audience and younger fans. And maybe you've been like me and you've done a report or something about the history of the Giants, and you've seen these uniforms, and you were. I will say I've looked at these uniforms before, not in physical form, but seen them and thought, like, wonder what those look like on the field. Well, we're going to get to see that. Like, we're going to actually get to see this play out and this season, and I think that's really fucking cool. I'm sorry, but I just do. Anyways, some of y'all need to just relax. Enjoy the New York Football Giants. You don't always have to be so damn negative about every little thing that comes out. Okay, you don't like the quarterback. Okay, you don't like the jerseys. Okay, well, guess what? 100 years, the history should tell you that there's something else coming around the corner eventually. My hope is the Giants can continue to live another 100 years. Well, after we're all gone. We're all, 100 years from now, Piz will be gone, you'll be gone, and there'll be another batch of New York Giant fans, and they'll look back at maybe our uniforms and say, oh, God, them things were plain and stupid. It's just ridiculous. But anyways, I love the fact that the Giants are going to be, it seems like there's going to be a lot of different potential uniforms. They're going to wear these twice this year. Hopefully this doesn't, I don't know if this is going to take away from, these Color Rush uniforms or the Giants logo ones. I guess we'll have to wait and see how this develops. But it'd be cool if the Giants had 3, 4, 5 different sets of uniforms this year. That'd be great. I'd love the variety. So anyways, Century Red uniforms out for the Giants. At the end of the day, it's just a product that's going to sell. And so just wanted to share with you guys my thoughts. And as always, go Big Blue.